Hello people, welcome to Gurukula. I'm Jai. So today in this video we will be talking about a command injection vulnerability in a web application. So without any further delay, let's get into the topic. If you have landed directly onto this particular video, I would like to let you know that this is an video lecture series on web application penetration testing and vulnerabilities that is present in web application. So in our previous video, we have actually spoke a lot about what is brute force attack, and we have actually performed a brute force attack using Hydra in DVWA web applications. So I will leave the link in the description box for the complete playlist, and I would recommend you to check that out. So in this video we will be talking about what exactly command injection is and what an attacker could do if he can able to inject commands on a web application, and finally we will just walk you through all the procedures of how to perform a command injection in DVWA web application. Before we actually start, it is good to know what exactly command injection is. So command injection is sometimes called as shell injection, which allows an attacker to execute operating system commands on the server that it is running an application. And typically it will allow the attacker to fully compromise the application and as well as its data. So this attack is possible by passing on or chaining multiple operating system commands by using command separators. So now we will see how this is being done in action. So here is our DVWA web application. I have just opened it up for you just to save time, and so please do ensure that your DVWA security level is set at low. So once we have done the low level, we can just move on to the medium level. So you can just click on command injection and that will take you to this particular page. So this web application actually allows a user to ping a particular device. So we can assume that this is a service which is provided by this particular web application. So initially how it actually works is you are expected to type in IP address of any device so that to check the connectivity between these two devices. So I'll just type the IP address of the local machine. So 127.0.0.1, and then when I click on submit, you can actually see you will get the similar output what we get on the Linux command. So what exactly happening here is, let me open up the terminal for you and then I will pass on the same command. So let me just type in ping, and then I wanted to restrict the count to 4, so that I will type 4 here and then I will pass on the same thing. So 127.0.0.1, and then when I hit enter, you can actually see that the ping command is being executed. 4 packets have been sent and then it just received the response, and we can clearly see that the ICMP protocol have been used to perform this particular thing. So same thing is being happening. So you can actually see we have got the same output in the actual Kali Linux machine and as well as in the web application. So from an attacker's perspective, it is now clear that it is taking user input and then it is binding the user input and then the OS command together, and then it is performing the operation. So how can we exploit this? As I already said, we can use command separators so that we can chain multiple commands together. So let's take for an example, I will just type in the same thing, 127.0.0.1. and then I can use command separators. For an example, there is an semicolon, and then if I pass on the ls command, so which actually lists the file present in the current directory, and then I can click on submit. So when you actually see what is happening over here, so we can clearly able to see that this is an output for up to here. This is an output for our ping command. This is the output for our ping command, and you can see that these 3 lines are the output for our ls command which we have performed it. So what is actually happening here in this is, usually we have a command called ping which is served by the application, and then the user supplied input is 127.0.0.1. This user supplied input has been appended with this particular command, and later on we have a command separator followed by another particular command. So this entire code is being executed at the server side and then it is giving us the output. So we can check what happens if we do the same thing on the terminal as well. So when I go on the terminal, I'll just clear the screen for clarity. So I can just use ping, and then I will use the separator, and then I will use the ls command, and then when I click enter, you can actually see that it will just perform the ping command, and then it is very clear that it has just given us files that is present in the working directory. So this is how the exploit can be done. So this can be done by using multiple commands as well. So 127.0.0.1, and then I'm separating it with ls command, and then I'm chaining one more command like pwd. I just wanted to know the present working directory, and then I will click on submit. So when this particular command gets executed, you can see that there is an additional output. So this particular output up to here, this is an output for your ping command, and these three lines is an output for your ls command, and this single line is an output for your pwd command. So what actually I'm doing here is I can actually chaining these commands by using the command separators. So that is how the command injection will work. So with this command injection, I can pass necessary commands to the web application, and then actually I can gather information from the web application, and then I can do malicious activities in the web application. So now we will just increase the security level to medium, and then we will see how the web application is behaving. So click on web security, DVWA security, and click on medium, and then press submit. So now you can see that the security level is set to medium, and then you can click on command injection. So there is no difference in the UI screen. So let me just inspect, or we will, before we inspect the code, let me just try the same command what we have used in the previous level. So 127.0.0.1, and then followed by a semicolon, which is a command separator, and then I'm using the ls command to give. So there is no output from the web application. So that doesn't mean that this web application is not having the command injection vulnerability. So when you just look at the view source button, and then you can actually see what has been done in this. So by looking into the code, we can get an idea of how the informations are being handled at the server side. So when you look at here, this additional section is present. So this is not actually allowing, or in other words, we could say that it is actually blacklisting the separators like double ampersand and then the semicolon. So since the semicolon has been blacklisted here, the web application is not allowing any command separators like semicolon and then the double ampersand. So here it is very important to understand that semicolon and double ampersand is not the only command separators that is present. So we have other separators also. So let me see that 177.0.0.1, and then followed by, I can use a single, now I know that there is only double ampersand which is getting blacklisted. So what I can do is I can use a single ampersand, and then I can pass the ls command, and now you can see that, so ping has been done, and then you get the output somewhere at the random spot. You get the output for the ls as well. So now let me try with three commands chaining together. 127.0.0.1, I want ls, and as well as I want present working directory pwd, and then I'll click on submit. So we will just inspect the output. Yes, so now all these three commands have been executed. So now this is the output for your pwd, that is your present working directory of this web application, and this is the output for your ls command, and this is the output for your usual ping command. So here also we can actually exploit this vulnerability by changing the command separators. So that is how the command separation will work. So when an attacker can actually inject commands into the web application, he can actually gather information about the web application. So information leakage is possible, and he could also establish a reverse shell connection with the web server, and then he could able to control the entire web server at his convenience. And sometimes he may also can able to create a new malicious user, and he can escalate the privileges for the newly created user for his convenience. And sometimes he can also download a malicious script by using a command called wget from the malicious servers, and he can install it to the web application servers as well. So, and the attack effects are countless depending on which level of commands that is getting executed by this command injection vulnerability. So there are certain mitigation techniques which can be followed to avoid this particular vulnerability. So it is better to avoid user supplied input directly from the application layer. Instead, APIs can be used, which actually avoids the command construction at the shell level. So the main reason for this particular vulnerability is not sanitizing or not properly validating the inputs getting from the user. So we can use strong validation against a whitelist of permitted values, but instead of using blacklist values, we can use the whitelisted values, which will be much more safer as compared to the blacklisted one. So we can use the least privilege principles, and we can set up a strict file system permissions, which actually restricts the access to the sensitive files and directories present in the web application. And we can implement proper firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and intrusion prevention systems. So these are all the certain mitigation techniques that we can take in order to overcome or to minimize the command injection vulnerability. So in this session we have actually covered what exactly command injection is, and then we have covered what an attacker could do if he can able to inject the OS commands into the web application. We have just walked you through the low and medium security levels of DVWA, especially with command injection vulnerability, and finally we have discussed certain mitigation techniques to the command injection vulnerability. So up next in the next video, so we will be discussing on how to establish a reverse shell connection by using this command injection attack. So stay tuned. I'm going to see you in the next video. Until then, it's bye from Jai and happy learning.